Player also.
We can start.
Good evening, members. This is Pannaraj, Vice Chairman of the SIRC of ICAI. Due to technical issues, I have joined the webinar over mobile phone, and I welcome you all for this today's 3-hour CP webinar on ethical behavior and professional enhancement by one CA Raval, Parag, Rajnikant from Ahmedabad. Very happy to have you with us, sir. A warm welcome to you, Raval, Parag, Rajnikant.
Thank you, sir.
And also I warmly welcome all of you, the delegates here. And it is one of the important topics considering the recent developments that are happening in the disciplinary proceedings and the difficulties that are faced by our members across due to non-following the ethical requirements. So under these circumstances, we thought it fit at SIRC to have this topic today. And I thank the chairman and secretary, Chairman Mr. Chinnamastan Talkaila and Secretary Mr. Naresh Gelliji for choosing this topic and making me one of the hosts for today's webinar. So I straight away go to the introduction of the speaker without taking much of your time, and I take the pleasure of introducing Mr. Parag Rahul. So he is a BCom graduate with FCA and AICWA and DISA qualifications, DISA of ICAI. At present, he is a practicing chartered accountant and completed 30 years in practice, and is playing a key role in progress of Ellis Bridge CP Study Circle of WIRC of ICAI since February 2005. The study circle has won award from WIRC of ICAI for 11 times. Congratulations, sir. Co-opted a member of the Corporate Laws and Corporate Governance Committee of ICAI for the year 2022-23, convener of Corporate Allied and Allied Laws Committee of Ahmedabad branch of WIRC of ICAI for the year 22-23. In the past, he was elected to the WIRC Council for the term of 6 years from 2010 to 2015, and he was also Vice Chairman of WIRC of ICAI for the year 2013-14. It is my pleasure to be here as Vice Chairman of SIRC, sir, and he has served as Treasurer of WIRC and also Chairman of Ahmedabad branch WIRC and in various other capacities, and he has chaired various other webinars that were conducted in IFRS implementation. He has worked on the IFRS implementation committee, and also he was chairman of administration coordination committee during 10-11 and chairman of cooperative laws and allied laws committee and grievances committee 2011-12 and 2015 and 16. He was also chairman of cooperative committee of Gujarat, that is 2012 and 13, and co-opted a member of accounting standards of local bodies committee of ICAI and corporate laws committee of WIRC of ICAI for 2016-17, and he has headed various committees of Ahmedabad branch also between 2001-2 and 6-7. So with this brief introduction, I once again welcome Raval sir, and also hand over the proceedings to him. Over to you, sir, to take up the proceedings for the day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pannarajji, the Vice Chairman of Southern India Regional Council. I also acknowledge the what I mean to say, all the members present at present. Around 236 members have attended. I'm thankful to the chairman of SIRC and the entire team, as well as the entire team of SIRC who are managing this session. I'm highly thankful to you for giving me an opportunity to share some of my views on code of ethics. Friends, before coming to the subject proper, let me tell you, friends, you and all your family members must be fine in this paradoxical time, because the COVID-19 has made a great toll on our many professionals, and it has made life miserable. Of course, with the beginning of 2022, the situation has drastically improved and we are happy, but the toll has its impact till at present. Friends, though COVID has made our life miserable, it has also taught us many new things. We have learned many new things in the times of COVID-19 in the form of new normal. Without attending office, uh, we were able to run our office from our home. Without visiting venue of lecture meeting or conference, we were able to take part virtually with the use of technology. So these are the new normals, and we are quite conversant with all these new things. Friends, before coming to subject proper, there are certain observation by our past presidents, by our senior in the profession, even by these center council members. Friends, it has been noticed since long that ethics and auditing standards in our professional life has always taken a backseat. It is so ironical that despite the fact we do read a lot of things like income tax, GST, Companies Act, etc., but when it comes to ethics and auditing standards, we tend to treat it as if we know everything and there is no need to study and even comply with these standards of ethics and accounting standards. History shows that whenever there is a conflict between ethics and economics, victory always go with economics. Very few members are aware of ethics and auditing standards. Hardly 5% of total members would be knowing how many auditing standards or accounting standards are in existence, meaning that by 95% of the members do not know the number of accounting standards or the accounting standards. Only CA final student would know about the numbers, and that poor student has to read it because he has to appear in the examination and need to answer the question in CA exam. Otherwise, he also would not have read it or studied it. And similar is the treatment with ethics. Once he qualifies as a chartered accountant, he do not read ethics. Books are parked in shelf. He enjoys the life and forgets the standards on auditing and ethics altogether. Ethics is a behavior. For example, you go to a lawyer. You expect certain services and behavior from the lawyer as a reward for fees you pay. This is a behavior and it is ethics also. Our client also expect certain type of services or treatment as a reward of payment of fees. It is something imbibed in us. It cannot be taught by others, or it cannot be known by reading. It should be in our sanskar. Many ethical things we tend to ignore on the plea that it is legally allowed. What is legal may not necessarily be ethical. For example, political parties give tickets to gundas, and we also talk that party has given ticket to third class fellows. Despite the fact this is legal, it is not ethical at all. Everything which is ethical is bound to be legal. Whatever is ethical cannot be illegal. Ethical things cannot be against the law. Whatever is permissible may be legal but may not be ethical at the same time. For example, a person can contest election, political election, despite he is in jail. A person is also allowed to go for voting even if he is in jail. It is not ethical at all, despite the fact it is legal. Similarly, writing a book by a chartered accountant on how to evade tax, how to commit frauds, how to convert black money into white. All these such things may be legally allowed, but not ethical at all. Many ethical things we ignore on the plea that it is legally allowed. However, we have to stand alongside always with ethics. Whatever brings disrepute to our institute is unethical. Even we cannot hold books of client or hold release of audit report until he pays the fees. And if we do so, it is a kind of extortion. Ethics means moral values. One can be transparent, but one needs to be accountable also. The whole foundation of any profession, particularly ours, CA profession, is its credibility. The sole purpose of Code of Ethics is to ensure and uphold this credibility. There is a criticism against our council that the complaints against chartered accountants are not processed very seriously. Another critique is there is a considerable delay in disposing of the complaints, and the punishments awarded to chartered accountants are too mild, and so on. Thus, the society expects the code of ethics to be implemented very strictly. Ethics are nothing but the laws of or rules of acceptable behavior. The new code of ethics is a 12th edition of code of ethics. It was last renewed or revised in the year 2009. The revised, that is the 12th edition of code of ethics, has been aligned with the various amendments and contemporary developments taken place since last revision in the year 2009. This is for the first time that the Code of Ethics has been segregated into volumes, namely Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. While Volume 1 and Volume 2 represent the revised counterparts, respectively, of Part A and Part B of Code of Ethics 2009, the Volume 3 is the case law referencer. So now the Code of Ethics has been uh, introduced in the form of volumes. The revised edition of Code of Ethics has been made applicable to all chartered accountants from 1st July 2020. However, due to the prevailing situation of COVID-19, the applicability of certain provisions of Volume 1 of Revised Code of Ethics has been deferred till further notification. That includes responding to non-compliance of laws and regulations and related fee size, and the taxation services to be provided to the audit client. So the provisions or ethics applicable to these three ethics have been deferred till the further notification. As you know, in the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, there are two schedules, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, which applies to all the chartered accountants plus all the members in practice, as well as all the members in job. And this is how the Code of Ethics have been designed. It is said that while performing our duties as a professional, the knowledge of laws and rules and regulations affecting to a particular assignment is fundamental. It is a must. However, apart from the domain knowledge, one also needs to constantly bear in mind the provisions of Chartered Accountant Act, regulations, technical pronouncements of institute, and also the notifications of institute. Violation of these pronouncements doubtless is a professional misconduct. Friends, as you are aware that Council has issued guidelines for conversion of CA firm into limited liability partnerships. Members may also refer MCA circular of April 2011 It may be noted that the said council guidelines mention that limited liability partnerships shall be subject to the same guidelines and regulations as if they were CA partnership firm. Mere conversion into LLP does not give any privileges which were not earlier with the CA firms. Thus, there is no immunity to LLPs from applicability of code of ethics. One should also be cautious when one is doing business in the name of wife or other family members. In case it is proved to be a benami activity, the member may be in trouble. There is a sound reason behind this restriction. The involvement in the business may impair one's independence and professional judgment. Further, it might hamper the standing and the respect in the eyes of society. Therefore, it is in the members' interest not to engage in such businesses. This is what has been categorically emphasized in the new code of ethics. A member is permitted to be an ordinary or simple director in a company, including board managed company, even if he or his relatives hold substantial interest in the company. He can also be a promoter of a company. He can also be a karta of an HUF, but he should not be actively engaged in carrying out any of the activities of either karta or the company, HUF or the company. Further, friend, expressing opinion on financial statements of any enterprise in which he or his firm or a partner in his firm has a substantial interest unless he disclose the interest also in his report. Friends, there is an amendment. The expression unless he discloses interest also in his report has been omitted by the amendment. Hence, the restriction becomes absolute and the mere disclosure will not help to auditors. The institute has in principle permitted a partnership with the members of sister professionals, namely Company Secretary Institute, ICAI, and the lawyers. However, certain things you should uh, keep in mind while entering into partnership with other professionals. Number one, there should be a reciprocal permission from the respective professional bodies. One. Second, work in the exclusive areas of a CA, such as statutory audit, attestation, or financial statements of companies, cannot be undertaken in such multidisciplinary firms. And third, the liability of the partners would be unlimited, like any other partnerships, and the partners would be regulated by their respective professional bodies, and for any violation of code of conduct and ethics, the institute will take steps. Further, friends, a member in CA practice is now permitted to share his fees with from professional practice with other professionals. He can also get his fees or share of fees from such other professionals. Now it is permitted. Further, he can now accept professional assignments by arrangement with such other professionals. The list of other professionals is now in the regulation 53A. You can refer it. That includes the company secretary, the cost accountant, the actuary, bachelor of engineering, BTech, architect, lawyers, and MBA, with whom we can share the fees, and we can also pay the fee to all these professionals. Friends, it is not permissible for a member who has been director of a company upon resignation from the company to be appointed as an auditor of the said company. Friends, this was a modus operandi which was adopted by many members. Once upon a time, they were the director in a company, and upon resignation as a director, they become auditor of the company. Now ICAI has prohibited this type of modus operandi. Now there should be at least 2 years of gap between the directorship as well as accepting auditorship in a company. Further, friends, the use of doctor with the designation of chartered accountant CA may be left to the discretion of member. That is, whether to use CA first or doctor first, or use doctor only or CA only before the name of members. Now it is all left to the discretion of members by our institute. Further,
Sorry to
friends,
interrupt.
please.
Selva from SIRC, sir. Is it on the first page you have kept it or slides you are using, sir? Because
No,
it's standard.
no, I'm not went to the
Using slides. Okay,
yeah.
okay, sir. Understood.
I'm just
Understood. Thank
I'm giving you observation of past presidents as well as the central council members who have given this type of
you.
examples before starting
Thank
code of ethics. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I will come to the presentation just after 10 to 15 minutes, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Friends, moving further, CA in practice can be a director simpliciter, which includes an independent director. The independent director are part of the board where the accounts are approved, and they are being a party to approval of financial statement. As such, there is no bar for them for signing the financial statements. However, the independent director, though they sign the financial statements, they cannot be involved into the day-to-day activities of the company. So one corner they have let for CAs who are independent director in a company, because by virtue of their directorship in a company, they form part of the board meeting and they approve the accounts, and now they are allowed to sign the accounts also. So this is a relaxation has been given by our institute. And friends, there are so many other recently pronounced judgments. I have gist of those judgments pronounced by institute. I think member will be benefited from the gist of these all pronouncement by our institute, which has been taken by the discipline committee of our institute in discipline committee or the board of discipline. One of the judgment says a CA firm may register itself on Udyog Aadhaar, a web portal of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise. So now CAs are allowed to register themselves on the portal of Ministry, namely Udyog Aadhaar. There is no prohibition for internal auditor of a company to acquire or purchase shares of the audited company. The restriction is on the statutory auditor. But if you are in the internal auditor of a X company, now you are allowed to purchase the shares of X company. If you are internal auditor, this is not permissible to the statutory auditors. It is not permissible for a member to use WhatsApp to send messages to make people aware about his practice and mention the services provided therein. There is a prohibition. A chartered accountant in practice, being director simpliciter in a company, cannot sign ROC forms of the company as it's a direct conflict of role. A CA in practice can act as a authorized representative of a foreign company, provided he is not the auditor of the said company. So now the slight relaxation has been given by our institute. A CA in practice can provide services through kiosk only if the services provided are professional activities of a practicing chartered accountant permitted under the act. A CA in practice is not permitted to accept audit assignment of a bank in case he has taken loan against a fixed deposit held by him in the bank. This is the case happened in Gujarat, wherein the chartered accountant had took a loan on fixed deposit from the bank and was appointed as a statutory auditor of the bank. So he was guilty under professional misconduct. A CA can hold the credit card of a bank when he is also the auditor of the bank provided the outstanding balance on the said credit does not exceed rupees 10,000 beyond the prescribed period limit on credit card given to him. So this is also a relaxation, because nowadays all the professional use the credit card or debit card, and outstanding remains there. A CA in service is allowed to take e-return registration if it does not conflict with the employment obligation. However, he cannot certify the return. So if you are an employee, so you are allowed to register on the portal of e-return, but you cannot certify for the ID returns of any employee or the colleague of the organization. In case where a chartered accountant in practice is a non-executive director in a company, he or a firm in which he is a partner should not accept the appointment as a statutory auditor of a company which is a joint venture of the original company, as it would impact the independence. This is the decided case. Moving further, a CA in practice may be an equity research advisor, but he cannot publish retail report, as it would amount to other business or occupation. These are all decided cases which will give us the proper guidance. A CA who is a member of the trust cannot be the auditor of the said trust. So the trust in which I am a member, I cannot become the auditor of that trust. A CA in practice may engage himself as registration authority, that is RA, for obtaining digital signatures for clients. It is now permissible to chartered accountants. A CA in practice can act as a mediator in court, since acting as a mediator would be deemed to be covered within the meaning of arbitrator. A CA in practice cannot become financial advisors and receive fees or commission from the financial institutions such as mutual funds, insurance companies, NBFCs, etc. So it's a kind of business, and business is not permissible to a practicing chartered accountant. A CA cannot exercise lien over the client documents or records for non-payment of fees, failing which you are guilty under professional misconduct. It is not permissible for a chartered accountant firm to print its vision and values behind the visiting cards, as it would result in solicitation of work. It is also not permissible for a chartered accountant in practice to take agencies of UTI, GIC, or NSDL. However, it is permissible for a member in practice to be a settler of trust. It is permissible. A CA in service may appear as tax representative before tax authorities on behalf of his employer. However, he cannot do the same thing on behalf of other employees of the company. Moving further, a CA who is the statutory auditor of a bank cannot, for the same financial year, accept stock audit of the same branch of the bank, or any of the branches of the same bank, or sister concern of the same bank. So the restrictions are very stringent. So if you are a statutory auditor of a bank, say for example SBI, you cannot accept the stock audit. You cannot accept the audit of other branches of the SBI, as well as there are sister banks like State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Saurashtra, which are now merged into SBI. So we are also not allowed to take up the audit of those sister concern of the bank. A concurrent auditor of a bank X, say for example X bank, cannot be appointed as a statutory auditor of Y bank, which is sponsored by X. So if X bank has sponsored Y bank, you are not eligible to take up the assignment in both the banks. A CA or a CA firm can act as the internal auditor of a company and statutory auditor of its employee PF fund under the Companies Act 2013. So if we are an internal auditor, it is permissible to you to become a statutory of the employee PF fund. Earlier it was not allowed, now it is permissible. A CA in practice is not permissible to hold customs broker license under section 146 of the Customs Act 1962. It is permissible for 2 or more chartered accountants in practice collectively to have a joint training session for their clients on GST and share the fees collected from the clients thereof. It is permissible to practicing chartered accountants now. However, GST training cannot be provided to the existing clients, can be provided to the existing clients. In case of non-clients, training can be provided only if the member is invited to provide such training. So, be it relaxation, be it stringent nature of code of ethics, a member can send presentation on GST or write up on GST only to existing clients and to a proposed client if an inquiry was received from the proposed client with regard to the same. So otherwise you cannot send your PPT on GST or write up to all in general. It is not permissible for a member to mention himself as a GST consultant. Like you cannot designate yourself as the IT expert or information technology expert. Same way, now we are prohibited to act as a to use the nomenclature GST consultant. A member can share GST updates mentioning himself as a CA with individual name, provided the communication is limited to providing updates only. Mention of firm name is not allowed while you do the teaching. So friend, these were some of the decided case laws which are really eye opener. So now let us friend go to the slideshow.
It's already in slideshow only, so you can just click on next button. It should navigate.
Yeah, but it at present doesn't, the button is not operating.
No, click on the PPT and then click next. It should
Okay, fine.
check. Is it navigating, sir?
Yeah, now
That's
navigating.
navigating.
Yeah. So friends, as I said earlier, our institute is a member of the International Federation of Accountants, that is IFAC, and we have also considered the ethics standard issued by International Ethics Standard Board of Accountants. It is popularly known as ISBA standards, while framing the code of ethics. So our earlier code of ethics were also the replica of the standards, ethical standards issued by ISBA. So we are following ISBA very meticulously as we are the member of IFAC. Friends, as you know, the earlier code of ethics, which was last revised in 2009, was in two parts, Part A and Part B. Part A was containing 3 chapters and Part B was containing another 4 chapters. So Part A was dealing with, Chapter 1 was dealing with general application of the code of ethics, means code of ethics applicable to all chartered accountants, whether into job or into practice. Chapter 2 was containing the professional account ethics applicable to chartered accountants in practice, and chapter 3 was applicable to all chartered accountants in service. In part B, there were 4 chapters. One was dealing with accounting and auditing standards. Chapter 5 was dealing with the CA Act 1949. The chapter 6 was dealing with ICAI Council guidelines, and chapter 7 was self-regulatory measures recommended by Council of the Institute. So earlier code of ethics having only 2 parts, Part A and Part B. Now as we move further, uh, our new code of ethics, which were issued in 2009, 2019, as a guidelines of the council are only based on the ISBA standards uh, 2018. The new code of ethics have been approved by the council in its meeting, which was held in December 2018, and it has come to effect from 1st July 2020. As I said earlier, the revised code of ethics um, is a revised version of Part A and Part B of code of ethics, and institute has also undergone revision in Part B, which was earlier present. The structure of the new code of ethics, as I said earlier, the new code of ethics have been bifurcated into 3 volumes: volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. As I said earlier, volume 1 and volume 2 are more or less replica of Part A and Part B so far content is concerned. That's why many people says the code of ethics, new code of ethics, are nothing but the old wine in new bottle, right? So, volume 1 of new code of ethics has 4 parts. Part 1 contains the code of ethics applicable to all CAs in general, whether into practice or whether into service. Uh, it also include Part 1 also include the code of ethics as well as the fundamental principles and the conceptual framework. It is now the forming part of the new code of ethics. Part 2 of volume 1 includes the ethics applicable to all chartered accountants who are into service. Part 3, ethics applicable to all CAs in practice. Part 4 deals with the uh, independent standards, and it has 2 parts, 4A and 4B. One applicable to audit and review standards, and another for other assurance engagement services standards. Now, volume 2. Volume 2 has 5 chapters. Sorry. Chapter 1 contains the accounting and auditing standards. Chapter 2 contains the Chartered Accountant Act 1949. Chapter 3 is a council guidelines for the advertisement. Chapter 4 contains the guidelines for of council from 2020, and chapter 5 is a self-regulatory measures as recommended by the institute by the council of our institute. So more or less, volume 1 and volume 2 are uh, as are ditto same as were there in earlier code of ethics in the form of Part A and Part B. Now, volume 3. Volume 3, it has 2 schedules, and it's a case law referencer. Friends, as you know that CA Act 1949 has 2 schedules, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, containing various provisions or ethics applicable to chartered accountants in general, as well as CA in practice, as well as CA in job or service. All the case law decided by the disciplinary committee or by the court of laws have been included in volume 3 as a case law referencer. So it is very useful to all the members at large to go through volume 3. So these are the overall structure of the new code of ethics. Friends, as I said earlier, volume 1 has fundamental audit principles, and will also laid down certain guidelines for the chartered for CAs in general. They have identified 5 fundamental principles upon which the whole edifice of our CA profession has been built. So the first and foremost fundamental principle is integrity. Being straightforward and honest in our professional relationship, and it also implies fair dealing and truthfulness. So integrity is must criteria for all the professional chartered accountants. Another fundamental principle is objectivity. Our institute says we should not allow bias or conflict of interest or undue influence of others to override our professional judgments. So we should not be subjective, but we should be objective while dealing with a test function. The third number of cardinal principle is professional competence and due care. It is well expected that we should update ourselves with all domain knowledge as well as other laws and rules applicable to our profession. We have to keep ourselves updated all the time, whether we are auditor or whether we are employee chartered accountant engaged with CFM or in other organization or company. So we have to maintain lot of integrity, objectivity, and professional updates, professional knowledge all the time. Confidentiality. Friends, the confidentiality of information acquired, we should not disclose any such information to parties without proper and specific authority unless it is a legal or professional right or duty to disclose. So confidential information, we should not part with others, or we should not use it for our personal gain. So it is also the important ingredient of the CA profession. And professional behavior, the fifth and last fundamental principle identified by code of ethics, which says that we should comply with all relevant laws and regulations and should avoid any action which invite discredit to the profession. So there are five fundamental principles upon which the entire CA profession has been built. Friends, upon against these five cardinal principles, our institute has also identified five kind of threats uh, which pose challenge to our fundamental principles. Right. The first challenge or threat is self-interest threat, which may occur as a result of the financial or other interest of a chartered accountant or his relative into the client. So it hampers, it also um, tempt us to adjust with the independence. So friends, direct financial interest in a client, even a quoting low fee to obtain a new engagement, even close business relationship with the client, and access to confidential information that might be used for personal gain. These all are the self-interest threat. Then another threat is self-review threat, which may occur when a um, uh, judgment which we have evaluated earlier, we are using or applying for the issuing certificate or other reports, friends. So issuing assurance report on effectiveness of the operation of financial statements after implementing the above mentioned system into the client organization. So it is clear self-review threat. Moving further, it is also said that prepared original data used to generate records that are the subject matter of the assurance engagement. It is also a kind of self-review threats. The third type of threat is advocacy threat, which may occur when a CA promotes a position or opinion, the point that subsequent objectivity may be compromised. So a CA become subjective while doing a test function. So whenever you become subjective, so advocacy threat is present, meaning thereby, see, when we promote the interest of a client, advocacy threat is present. When we lobbying in favor of legislation on behalf of client, also advocacy threat is present. So friends, um, this is the third kind of threat. The fourth kind of threat is familiarity threat. Friends, uh, these threat occur when we become very close to our client, we build up relationship with client, and we become so sympathetic to the interest of the others, so that we compromise the reporting. So whenever we become very close, uh, uh, you should be very watchful. You should not compromise with the things. For example, close and immediate family members who is a director or officer of the client organization, or long association with the audit client. These two types of situation are just giving the example, which attract the familiarity threat. If my brother is a officer in a company, and company gives huge salary or huge increment, it is direct or indirect, uh, certainly affects to my independence. So we have to be very watchful in those cases. The fifth kind of threat is intimidation threat, which may occur when a CA may be deterred from acting objectively by threats, actual or perceived. Many a time we have been threatened with dismissal from a client organization or the firm because of a disagreement about the professional matter. Even we have been pressured to agree with the judgment of a client. Even accept we when we accepted a significant gift from a client, and being threatened that acceptance of this gift will become public. So these all are the threats against the five fundamental principles. Moving further, friends, our institute suggests that in all those cases which poses threat against the fundamental principles, you have to uh, install safeguards. Safeguards can be created by the profession, and our institute has created safeguards by our code of ethics, legislation, or regulation. Safeguards in the work environment can also be instituted. We can go for the firm-wide safeguards. Means safeguards may be created in the firms. Safeguards can be created in the engagement specific. If it's a private organization, whether it's a public organization, we can create the, because there is a different environment, work environment, and the different hierarchy and different controls present. So safeguards can be created depending upon the engagement. Even safeguards can be created within the client system and procedure. When we have a chance to incorporate certain controls in the client organizations, we should see that adequate safeguards have been created so that threats may not be posed against the fundamental principles. A few structural changes in the new code of ethics. So independence requirement for audit and review engagements and other assurance engagements have been differentiated. Earlier there was only one set. Now in the new code of ethics, it is differentiated. The standard independent standards have been now reframed or renamed as international independent standards. Certain terminology has been changed. Earlier there were the word used should. Now it has been replaced by shall, making standards more stringent. Of course, the structuring pattern has been changed, sections have been changed, and certain requirement has been rearranged and redistinguished. Now there is more clarity of responsibility for compliance within the firm, within the network firms, within the individuals, within the firms. So the new code of ethics has given the good guidance to the chartered accountants, whether into job or into practice. Friends, uh, wherever domestic provision are stricter than the corresponding ISBA provision, the institute has continued with the domestic provision. Say, for example, total bar on accounting by the statutory auditor. It is not present into ISPA standard, but our institute has continued because there's a domestic provision, right? So wherever there is a domestic legal requirement governing the issue, say for example, the definition of network. So our ICAI says the definition of network as given by the institute will prevail. So other definition will not work over here. Wherever a domestic requirement has no corresponding provisions in ISBA code, the institute has continued or incorporated into the new code of ethics, like firm rotation, right? So this is has been incorporated along with the rotation of partners. Even certain languages have been we have changed, because in ISPA standard they use the word professional accountant in business, which is nothing but a professional accountant in service as per CA Act 1949. So we have made certain changes here and there. The new term has been incorporated into the new code of ethics is a key audit partner, but we should not frighten with the terminology. So key audit partner is a person, is an engagement partner who is responsible for the quality control and review of other partners, other subordinate, and the entire assignment. And he also takes key decisions or judgments on these significant matters with respect to the audit of the financial statements, which the firm will express the opinion. So friends, key audit partner is a person who takes necessarily the all key decisions or vital decisions. He also controls, supervise the function. He also supervise and controls the function of and guide the subordinates, partners or juniors. So the person is known as a key audit partner into the new code of ethics. As I said earlier, the independent standard. In the previous code of ethics, uh, independent standards were present only for the assurance and engagements. In the new code of ethics, they have bifurcated in the standards into two, uh, that is part 4A and 4B. 4A is with regard to independence for audit and review engagement standards, and 4B represent the ethical standards for assurance engagements, that is other than the audit and review functions. So these have been changed, brought in change in the new code of ethics. Very important, all we all have to understand, friends, the terminology has been introduced into new code of ethics, which deals with the non-compliance with laws and regulations, popularly known as NOCLAR, non-compliance with laws and regulations. Of course, the applicability of these ethical standards have been deferred till further notification, but we all have to understand these provisions. Friend, it says while providing a professional service to a client or an employer, because these all standards affect to practicing chartered accountant as well as those CAs into job. So while providing professional services to client or your employer, all CA should come across, may come across an instance of non-compliance of laws and uh, regulations, that is NOCLAR, or suspected NOCLAR committed or about to be committed by the client or the employer. In all those cases, we have to draw the attention of the appropriate governing body, also the management or the employees of the client or employer. So friends, wherever you come across there is a fraudulent transactions, you have to draw the attention of appropriate authority. Maybe IRDA, appropriate authority, maybe IRDA, maybe SEBI, maybe Reserve Bank of India, or so on and so forth. So it has cast the important duty upon the shoulder of chartered accountants. Accepting the fact that CA has a prima facie ethical responsibility to not turn a blind eye to the NOCLAR standards. So friends, whenever you come across, you should not turn your eyes blind. You have to report properly. you have to report to appropriate authority, and NOCLAR has given guidelines how to deal with the situation, considering how best we can serve to the interest of the various stakeholders and under various circumstances. So NECLAR has been introduced for the rescue or for the help of chartered accountants. And NOCLAR requires that being a chartered accountant, you must have the domain knowledge, but apart from domain knowledge, you should possess the knowledge of all the laws and regulations having nexus to the professional training and expertise, and all the laws and regulations which have a direct impact on the determination of the material amounts and disclosure in the financial statements, the compliance of which is fundamental to the entity's business. And compliance are also necessary to avoid material penalties levied by various authorities upon the non-compliance. So very stringent duty has been cast upon the shoulder of a chartered accountant. Examples of laws and regulations required to be addressed by the chartered accountant includes all the laws, rules and regulations affecting to fraudulent transactions, corruption and bribery, money laundering transactions, terror financing and proceeds of crime. Now we should be aware of all the laws and update ourselves towards all the laws. Not only these, we should be completely aware of the various laws affecting to security markets and trading, banking, and other financial products and services. Not only these, it also requires us to be well conversant with data protection, environmental protection, public health and safety standards, as well as the tax and pension liabilities and payments applicable to client organization. Friends, you may be aware that your client is dealing with fraudulent transactions, issuing bogus GST bills, claiming bogus ITC in GST, also adopting various window dressing while submitting data to the SEBI and various other authorities in the banks also. So in all those cases, now it is up to you. You have to report it properly in your report, as well as you have to draw the attention of various authorities. Failing which you are guilty, you may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Friends, you may be aware that your client is releasing untreated polluted water into river or nallas or canal, right? So environmental protection is in a danger. Even public health and safety standards are also in danger in those cases. So wherever you come across these facts, you should draw the attention of Pollution Control Board and all other appropriate authorities. Even data protection is also is a big chunk, because nowadays the most important asset is the data, and you should be well aware of the data protection standards, laws and rules regulations. However, certain matters are not forming part of NOCLAR. Say, for example, when the matter is clearly inconsequential, that is of little value or no importance or not worth considering, means materiality is also present. Personal misconduct of a partner or director or MD, which is not related to the business or activities, you should not report it. And the non-compliance other than by the client or the employer, then there is no matter for the reporting to appropriate authority or appropriate level of hierarchy in the organization. And we have to address non-compliance of laws and regulations only when and only in the cases when we encounter the same thing in the course of providing professional services to a client, right? Otherwise we are not supposed to report. Even appropriate authority may be different from depending upon the crime adopted by the or the transaction adopted by the client entity. Say for example, um, uh, disclosure in the financial statements, uh, or if it's a fraudulent or window dressing have been adopted, then you have to draw the attention of SEBI for all these financial fraudulent transactions or reporting. In new code of ethics, it has been initially made applicable to only the auditors and employee chartered accountants of a listed entities in India. So friends, ethics as contained in NOCLAR is at present applicable only to the auditors and employee chartered accountants of a listed entities in India, and it is also applicable only to audit assignments in India. So of course the applicability has been deferred, but while it become applicable, you should very careful that it is applicable only to the certain categories of entities or certain categories of chartered accountants and certain type of audit assignments in India. Friends, the new code of ethics incorporates the firm rotation requirement. It is also present in Companies Act 2013. So while section 550 our code of ethics for providing comprehensive guidance for members, it is contained. It says that the code of ethics requires that there should be a 5-year cooling off for the engagement partner. So supposing I am an auditor of Reliance and handling the assignment as a partner for last 5 years, then after 5 years I should take cooling off, and another partner should take up the assignment and should review the assignment. In earlier ethics, that is earlier code of ethics, only rotation of partners was present. In the new code of ethics, apart from rotation of partners, rotation of firms is also emphasized. So new code of ethics are bit stringent in the nature. Now friends, another very important aspect, very important aspect, friends. Of course, the applicability of these ethical standards applicable to taxation services provided to the audit clients has been postponed at present, but are very important, friends. So the old code of ethics, under the old code of ethics, taxation services uh, provided to the audit clients, say for example compliances, planning, provision of taxation opinions, and assistance in the resolution of tax disputes. Such assignments were generally not seen to create threats to independence in the earlier code of ethics. However, into the new code of ethics, further guidance on taxation matters has been provided. It says that generally providing tax services to audit client might create a self-review or advocacy threat, meaning thereby we have to take an appropriate safeguard. We have to appoint the reviewer to review our function, and we should involve such third party, or we took hire services from third party to review such type of audit work. Friends, it is but obvious that providing tax services to audit client, our independence certainly at stake, right? And that's why our ICAI or our code of ethics says exercise due caution appropriate safeguard appropriate safeguards, and see that you provide the best services to client and your independence is not at stake. So friends, tax return preparation, usually it is not considered as a threat. However, the tax calculations for the purpose of preparing accounting entries, which will be subsequently audited by our firm, of course create a self-review threat. Even tax planning and other tax advisory services which we normally provide to a client, audit client, might create self-review or advocacy threat. And in all those cases, we have to exercise appropriate safeguards and using professional knowledge, services of other professionals who are not forming part of audit team to perform these services. So friends, our code of ethics or our institute doesn't say that you should not provide taxation services to your audit client. Mind well friends, you should continue providing tax services to your audit client. However, what they say is take appropriate caution, abundant caution you should exercise so that your independence may not be at stake and your professional judgment may not get hampered. So that is what very much emphasized by these standards. Moving further, tax services involving valuations. So whenever there is a huge valuation, ICAI says it has a great impact on the financial statements and disclosure. So normally you should not it attracts threat and proper caution has to be exercised. Even assistance in the resolution of tax dispute. Normally we all CS do this. We also provide assistance in the resolution of tax dispute various authorities, whether CIT appeal or income tax authority or many hierarchy of tax authority, including High Court. So friends, whenever you provide assistance in this resolution of tax disputes, it invite self-review threat and also advocacy threat, and you should take appropriate safeguards. You should take services of other experts or other chartered accountant into the field who is not from part of your team. You should take the appropriate help of advocates, and when the amounts involved are material to the financial statements on which the firm express opinion, you should exercise due caution. Documentation under the new code of ethics. Friends, the documentation was of course emphasized in the earlier code of ethics. However, the compliance and the independence requirement under the new code of ethics are very greater in detail. Even it says that you should document how you responded the non-compliance of laws and regulations, and the peer reviewer will also demand this documentation. So the documentation requirement have been emphasized and made stringent into the new code of ethics. The fee, the relative size. Of course, the applicability of these set of ethical standards have been postponed till further notice. What it says, friends, where for 2 consecutive years, total gross annual professional fees from audit client and the group sister concerns and related group concerns are more than 15%, 15% of the total fees, the firm should disclose the fact to the persons who are charged with the governance in the case of public interest entities client. So when there is a huge stake is involved of the various entities, there are various stakeholders, then you should be very watchful, very careful, um, that whenever uh, the total fee in the last 2 years are more than 15% of the gross revenue, then you should draw the attention of the person who are charged with the governance. This ceiling of 15% on total fees of the firm uh, is not applicable where such fees does not exceed 5 lakh rupees, and when the fees are received from the audit of government companies or public undertakings or nationalized banks or public financial institutions or the government corporations or government appointments. These are the exemptions. The rule applies only where such 15% fees received from the audit client. Mind well, friends. While considering 15%, we have to take into consideration only the fees received from the audit client. So other fees like taxation fees, project finance fees, or other company law matter fees are to be excluded. The revised code of ethics does not put bar on the acceptance of more than 15% fees from a single client. Another very important facet, friends, you should keep in mind that Code of Ethics or ICAI don't say you don't charge more than 15% fee from a single client. What it says that it only says the requirement of disclosure of taking appropriate safeguards prescribed therein should be observed adequately, and accordingly the audit may be continued taking proper safeguards. Now the criteria for criteria for indebtedness. The new code of ethics brought concern over the materiality of loans and guarantees. Whether a loan or guarantee is material or not would depend upon the combined net worth of the individual and his immediate family members. So it's a new concept which has been incorporated into the new code of ethics. So while judging the transaction of loan or guarantees, we have to see the net worth of the individual and its family members. So we adopted this concept in the new code of ethics. Um, in the new code of ethics, the application of safeguards is required whenever necessary to eliminate threat or to reduce the threat to an acceptable limit. Uh, Earlier, the safeguard had to be considered if a threat was other than the clearly insignificant. So now the safeguards have to be adopted majority all the ethical standards, friends. New terminology is public interest entity, PIE. In the new code of ethics, it contains a new terminology. Uh, Whenever there is a huge stake has been involved or there are the large stakeholders in the entity or the large interest is involved, then it is called a public interest entity. And in all those cases, we have to exercise very abundant caution while reporting and while exercising judgment. And our institute has added into the list the all insurance companies and banks, because banks and insurance companies are there where large stakeholder is are involved, and we have been encouraged by our institute to determine whether to treat a particular organization as an additional entities as a public interest entity, because the large number of stakeholders interest of large uh, stakeholders have been involved. So new terminology, new requirement under the new code of ethics. Inducement, gift, and hospitality. It was also present into last code of ethics, but under the new code of ethics, these standards applicable to the offerings, inducements, gifts, and hospitality are made much stringent. Friends, uh, you will agree with me that all these offerings, inducement, gifts, and hospitality certainly affects to our independence and our professional judgment. So inducement standards have been elaborated. We have to see first whether the transaction is prohibited by law and the regulations. Offering is also now prohibited. Reasonable and informed third party test has to be adopted. That is, you have to exercise abundant caution whether it is with the intent to improperly influence the behavior of the recipient of another individual. Of course, friend, whenever there is a gift, hospitality, or inducement, it is of course with the intention of improperly influence the behavior of the recipient or the another individual, maybe government officer, maybe income tax officer, maybe client, maybe my family member, maybe my relatives. So direct, indirect gifts and offerings and salary hike or gifting of car or precious gift to my family members are certainly have a huge impact on my independence. And there is a clarifications about the appropriate boundaries for offering and accepting inducement under the new code of ethics, and total prohibition in case of audit assurance clients to continue. So these standards have become very important, friends. uh, it says that certain services are prohibited to a statutory auditor. So whenever you are auditor of a company, certain type of services you cannot provide. That includes accounting and bookkeeping of services, internal audit you cannot do, design and implementation of any financial information or system, actuarial services you cannot provide if you are a statutory auditor of the company, investment advisory services, outsourced financial services, and the management services. All these services have been identified by our institute uh, that these services you cannot provide whenever you are auditor of a company. Friends, let us take the example of ILFS. You know the ILFS fiasco. The small gist I want to share with you, which is really friend eye opener. Very drastic scenario was present, and really it has dented the reputation of CAs into the eyes of society. Friends, into the ILFS case, auditors were providing huge other services, meaning thereby other than the audit services. Node of audit committee approvals were obviated. Audit staff rotation was not present. Familiarity threat was fully functional in the attached function. Independence in mind of audit firm was totally lacking. Friends, as per the ILFS audit report, is a public document. The total audit fee for 15 engagements listed in the Annexure 1 was 666 lakh compared to the audit fee of 401 lakhs for the year 2017-18. Mind well, friends, it's really, isn't it mind-boggling? The total audit fee was only 401 lakh against the fee from other services which are listed in the audit report or annexure 1 of audit report was 666 lakh. So of course, it has a huge dent on the independence of the chartered accountant. And these 15 engagements were from ILFS Limited holding company or directly from IFIN. It do not include the engagements given by other associates and group companies of ILFS or SPEs or SPVs of ILFS. So friends, see the height the other services the CS were getting, and that's why our institute is seriously thinking to brought in laws. It is also there's a also table into parliament, and parliament approved the law, and now it is very important, friends, that you cannot take more other services than the audit services. So it is now very stringent. So now, friends, let me have a my pardon me, friends. Let me have a sip of water, please. Thank you, friends. Friends, this code of ethics, the topic of the name given today's lecture is um, code of ethics and the enhancement profession, right, friends? So I mean that there are code of ethics. However, there are certain relaxation into the new code of ethics. Certain provision made also stringent also. How to take guidance uh, because ICAI specified many things. So to improve our enhance our profession, let us go into certain examples by which the idea will be become more clear, and we will have a better understanding of how we can improve our profession, how the things can be evolved, and how better we can use how best services we can provide to our clients. So the first is how many tax audit reports, how many tax audits we can upload into the IT portal, how many tax audit report we can upload onto the IT portal. The majority will say that 60 audit, 60 tax audit I can upload on the IT portal. But mind well, friends, the uploading requirement is by the Income Tax Act. It says that tax audit report to be signed and uploaded by the chartered accountant. Nowhere it specifies the number of tax audit to be uploaded. The limit of 60 has been uh, laid down by our institute, not by the income tax. So IT portal will not stop you uploading 61st report, 62nd report, or for that matter 1000 report or 1001 report. IT portal will not stop you. The restriction or um, uh, the curb has been imposed by our institute, not by the uh, Income Tax Act. Similarly, friends, how many tax audit report can be signed by a partner in a financial year? I think everyone will say 60 tax audit report, excluding the audit report under presumptive taxation, that is 44 AD, and all that. Right, friends? However, we should take the guidance from the ICAI pronouncements. ICAI has said, friends, as per Chapter 6 of the Council General Guidelines relating to the Section 44AB tax audit, it says in case of firm of chartered accountant in practice, the specified number of tax audit assignments means 60 tax audit assignments per partner of the firm in a financial year. Therefore, if there are 10 partners in a firm of chartered accountants in practice, then all the partners of the firm can be collectively sign 600 tax audit. Okay, friends? And this maximum limit of 60 tax audit assignments may be distributed among the partners in any manner whatsoever. For instance, one partner can individually sign all 600 tax report, or 200, 300, 500, and so on. So friends, if I have a partnership firm and I can sign, in that case I can sign more than 60 tax report. Subject to that, my other partner uh, is not signing the full quota of tax report. So it is also a very important tool for the bigger firms, wherein they can assign the function of signing tax report and uploading to a single partner, and they can devote their attention to other attached functions and other professional assignments. So we can take the guidance from this ICAI pronouncement. So another, moving further friends, of course very well fall under the code of ethics. It says, can an auditor accept the appointment in case of non-payment of undisputed fees to earlier auditor? Say for example, I have been appointed as a auditor of X company, wherein Mr. Y was a chartered earlier auditor. What are the precautionary steps should I observe while taking the assignment? What ICAI says, I should not accept appointment if undisputed audit fee remain unpaid to the predecessor for the statutory audit of the companies or any other entities, right? And undisputed audit fee means what? Means uh, audit fee provided into the balance sheet and profit loss account, and these financial statements have been signed by the auditor as well as the client. So that becomes the undisputed audit fee. Now question arises, friend, uh, if I am taking the assignment, I have to confine myself only to the audit fee, that too provided into the balance sheet. So out of the balance sheet transactions, I am no concern, and I have to confine myself only to audit fee. If there is a taxation fees or project finance fees, though provided, I am least concerned. I have to see that my predecessor has been paid with the undisputed audit fee. However, being a professional brother, I have to see that all the fees are to be paid to my predecessor. But so far as the disciplinary cases are concerned, I have to confine myself to the audit fees, unpaid audit fees. Right, friends? So, friends, uh, an ACA means a chartered accountant who is an insurance agent. Can he apply for the membership of our institute? He's a CA pass out. He has become an insurance agent, and now after say 7 years, he want to become a member of our institute. Can he apply for the membership of our institute? The answer is yes. There is no bar for a person engaged as an insurance agent to apply for membership of the institute without certificate of practice. He is required to give up the LIC agency if he desires to obtain COP. Obvious. The practicing member is not permitted to act as LIC agent. However, he is permitted to collect renewal commission for the businesses he has transacted earlier before the commencement of the practice. So very clear-cut guidance has been laid down given by the institute, right? So taking the advantage, we can go for our enhancement of our profession, friends. Taking the same line of action, can a practicing chartered accountant become the insurance surveyor or loss assessor? You might have seen many CAs are there who are offering their services as an insurance surveyor and the loss assessor. So are practicing CAs allowed to do this? The answer is yes. A member in practice is permitted to permitted. Sorry, friend, I have missed one of the point. Uh, the code of ethics says we cannot become the agent for the solicitation of business of any insurance company or broking institute or mutual fund organizations. We can provide the financial services. We can provide the insurance financial advisory services only, but accepting commission or fees under the some other nomenclature are not at all permitted. Fine friends. So we cannot become agent, we cannot become solicit business from the insurance for the insurance company. However, we have to confine or limit ourselves only to the advisory and consultancy services. So, friend, I was talking about the loss assessor and surveyor. So, as per Appendix 9 of CA regulations, it is permitted to all chartered accountants, uh, to all practicing chartered accountants, to act as a surveyor or loss assessor, and if we pass the examination, and Insurance Act 38 permit us to provide these kind of services. So it is permitted to become a surveyor or loss assessor for the insurance company. Friends, is it possible to hold two assignment of the same organization? One is internal audit and one is tax audit or GST audit. If I am an auditor, I am the internal auditor. If I am the internal auditor of X company, can I undertake the tax audit or GST audit of the same organization? So the answer is no. As per the decision of the council in the year 2008, an internal auditor or CA firm uh, cannot be appointed as a tax auditor of the that organization, because it creates the conflict of roles, and even GST audit cannot be undertaken if you are the internal auditor. If you do so, you may have to face the music. You may be held guilty under professional misconduct. If I am the internal auditor of a company, can I also undertake the accounting work of the same company? I'm not the statutory auditor. I'm the internal auditor only. Can I undertake the accounting work of the company? It is prohibitive to undertake the assignment of internal audit of a client and the entry of the transaction, that is accounting work, together, because it's a violative of the provisions of the guidance not of independence of auditors. Now, moving further and taking clue, can I become the concurrent auditor, as well as can I also take the quarterly review of the bank or any company? Can I become the concurrent auditor as well as the can I undertake the quarterly review of the same bank or same company or some entity? So it is prohibitive, because concurrent audit and the assignment of quarterly review of the same entity cannot be undertaken simultaneously, because concurrent audit is a kind of internal audit and the quarterly review is a kind of statutory audit, and undertaken if both simultaneously are prohibited under the provisions of guidance not of independence of auditors, wherein they have clearly mentioned that both the assignment we cannot take, internal audit as well as the statutory audit of a same organization. Now, can statutory auditor become the system audit of the company. I'm the statutory auditor of a X company, and X company approaches me with the proposition that you also do the system audit of our company. Can I do both the assignment together? The answer is yes. The statutory audit can be accepted. Even the system audit can be accepted of the same entity. However, the system audit should not include any scrutiny or review of the financial data and the information. So there is a scope of work for the practice enhancement, isn't it, friends? So it is permitted. However, we have to see that financial data and scrutiny of those and certification should not involved into it. Moving further, can a statutory auditor write a books of an auditee? Of course, friends. The answer is in negative. An auditor is not permitted to write the books of account of the auditee clients. Council directions, clause 4 of the Code of Ethics schedule, second schedule of the CA Act also prohibits. Can a CA in practice work as a collection agent or recovery agent? If I'm a practicing chartered accountant, can I undertake the work of as a collection agent or the recovery agent? Of course, the answer is in negative. We cannot do this. However, he can act as a recovery consultant provided in clause 25 of the management consultancy and other services as appearing in the appendix of the CA Act. Even charging of fee by the recovery consultant in the percentage basis is also not permissible. See, if supposing I am not a practicing chartered accountant, then I can go for the I can become a recovery consultant. Even in those case, if you're a chartered accountant, you cannot charge fee on the percentage basis, right? So the prohibition is there into the Code of Ethics. I'm a practicing chartered accountant. Can I undertake the work of payroll processing of X company? X company approaches me and tells me that Parag, you please conduct the payroll processing of our company. Can I undertake the payroll processing of a company? So answer is positive as well as negative. A member in practice can provide payroll processing services since these all are under the purview of activities mentioned in the provisions of section 221 of the CA Act. It is permissible. However, what about these services to be provided by the statutory auditor? It is not permissible for him to undertake the activity if I am a statutory auditor of the same company. So it's a scope of professional enhancement or practice. So if company approaches me of which I am not the statutory auditor, I can do the payroll processing. If I am the internal auditor of a company, I can go for the payroll processing of that company. So we can enhance our practice, and that is why the name of the topic is professional enhancement also under the broad boundaries of CA Act as well as the Code of Ethics. Friends, can liquidator be appointed as a company auditor? Supposing X company is into liquidation, the liquidator has appointed me to liquidate the company, and now the company approaches me, Parag bhai, you also do the statutory audit of the company. Can I do both the assignment together? The answer is no. Both the assignment cannot be undertaken. because of course it largely affect to the independence. Now friends, moving further, if I am a auditor of a subsidiary company, can I become a director of its holding company? I am the auditor of subsidiary company. Can I become the auditor of the holding company? The answer is no. It affects the independence of the auditor. Practicing chartered accountants are prohibited from becoming director in a company wherein he or any of his partner are interested as auditor. Members are expected to interpret the independence standard or requirement much more strictly than what the ICAI requires. So standards are very strict. Now moving further, friends, if I am the lecturer in a college and the college approaches me to conduct the audit of the college, or take another example, uh, a trust approaches me for the audit wherein my partner is either an employee or a trustee of the trust. Can I undertake the audit? In both the cases, CA will be guilty under professional misconduct. CA, of course, it affects the independence. In both the cases, you should not accept the audit either of the college or of the trust. Can I accept the audit of an enterprise or concern where my partner or relative of mine is a director in the company who has a substantial interest? Of course, friend, the answer is negative. A member cannot audit an enterprise or concern where a partner or relative of the member is a director in the company who has a substantial interest. Of course, the reason is not to compromise with the independence of mind. The member may um, desist from undertaking the audit of financial statement and the expression of opinion thereon. Friends, moving further, I think these all examples or other practical life examples for which we seek the explanation, go to the branch chairman or the SIC chairman. They don't give cannot give the answer. We go to the ICI. They also may not be able to provide the answer, and sometimes we act upon our wisdom, but sometimes we may be put under hot water, and that's why these all are the practical examples of code of ethics. To understand the code of ethics through this type of examples give the better and clear understanding of the ethical standards. So from moving further, whether a member of the institute in practice is required to maintain books of account. I am a practicing chartered accountant. Is it mandatory for me to maintain books of account? Supposing my practice is just 2 lakh rupee, or supposing my practice is 20 crore rupees, am I supposed to maintain books of account? And if I don't maintain, then what would happen? So friends, very important. Our ICI says a member of the institute in practice shall be deemed of the guilty of professional misconduct if he or the CA firm of which he is a partner fails to maintain books of account and keep account of in respect of his professional practice, irrespective of the volume of the transaction. I have to keep books of account, including cash book and a ledger. So friends, irrespective of the fact of the volume of your practice in rupee terms, you are supposed to maintain books of account, failing which you may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Can a practicing member become part of association of person, that is AOP, wherein other CA members or other professional members, company secretary or cost account are the members? Am I supposed to, can I join those association? The answer is clear cut no. It is not permissible for a member in practice to be a part of such association of persons, whether uh, not comprising of other CA other professionals, since as per the provisions of the CA Act, only firms and LLPs are only the mode of doing practice apart from the individual practicing, there is proprietorship. So only three mode of practice are there, either proprietor or firm or LLP. On in other any form whatsoever, you cannot do the practice. Friends, supposing there are uh, two three member partnership firm. One of the partner dies. Can the firm share the fee or profit with the widow of that partner or the legal representative of that partner? The answer is yes. When there are two or more partners and one of them dies, the widow of the deceased partner can continue to receive share of the profit of the firm, or legal representative can take. Uh, they are entitled to share the profits. However, there should be a clause into the partnership firm where the partnership agreement contains the provision that on the death of the partner, his widow or legal representative would be entitled to such payment by way of sharing of fees or otherwise, and that too for the specific period. So if the partner dies, I there should be there should be clause in the partnership deed, as well as there should be uh, specific mention of number of years till which I am sharing the revenue with the widow or legal representative, right? So both should there exist in the partnership firm, or sorry, rather partnership deed. Friends, taking the clue of this case law, uh, take another example. There is a proprietary concern. Proprietor dies into COVID, and practice is sold to another chartered accountant with goodwill. Now the widow or the legal representative can accept share of fees and profit in due form. Can agreement be entered into containing such type of provisions? So answer is no. Whatever is true in partnership firm is not applicable to proprietary concern. If you do a such type of agreement, then it is prohibitive and you may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Friends, take the example in the month of September 21, I have signed an audit report. It's a clean audit report without any qualification. In the month of January, I became aware that I have signed not properly. There were some qualification I had to mention in the audit report. Can I change the audit report? Meaning thereby, can I sign two audit reports for the same financial year for the same organization or company, one with clean report and one with qualification. Can I do so? And if I do so, what would happen? So friends, answer is no. If I do so, I am clearly guilty under professional misconduct because I was grossly negligent while conducting the attest function in conducting my professional duties. So practical live examples give the better understanding of various ethical standards, friends. Friends, if I see in the month of April, in the last month, we all received the appointment letter from the national banks for conducting statutory audits, right, friends? Is it mandatory for we to communicate with the earlier chartered accountant of the branch or bank for NOC? All those cases of nationalized bank or other bank, is it necessary? Because we understand that it's a non-routine client and the allotment is coming from the Reserve Bank of India. Why I should go for NOC? But no, friends. Our code of conduct says, our CA Act says that all the laws are equally applicable even in the case of audit of nationalized bank and other banks, and also even in the case of government agencies. Normally we tend to forget this, but whenever we receive CNAG audit, whenever we receive RBI audit, bank audit, statutory audit, we have to mandatorily communicate with predecessor. So taking the clue from this example, there are various kind of audit. Say for example, concurrent audit, revenue audit, tax audit, special audit, so on and so forth. Am I supposed to take the NOC from the predecessor in all those cases? The answer is yes. The requirement for communication with the previous auditor would apply to all types of audits: statutory audit, tax audit, internal audit, concurrent audit, or any other kind of audit. The council had laid down the detailed guidelines into the code of ethics, right, friends? Uh, friends, I'm just taking a break for a sip of water, friends. Just 2 to 3 seconds, please.
Break for 1 or 2 minutes, as you said, after 7. Or how was it?
Hope I am able to make them all understand about the requirement of the institute as well as the code of ethics, isn't it, friends? Yeah, friends, moving further, what if communication with the previous auditor is done on the phone or as soon and we start the work? Supposing Mr. X is the predecessor. He was the auditor of Y company. Y company approaches me and tell me to do the audit, to conduct the audit. I saw that previous auditor was Mr. X. So, and he's my very good friend of mine. So immediately I phoned him up that the company has approached me and I'm commencing the audit and you were the predecessor, so I'm just informing you. Huh. Fine, friends. Can it so happen, friends? Or what are the requirements for communication? I have told him he's a good friend of mine. He has not objected, and rather he will not object because we have a good friendship. But 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 the law is different. the member would be held guilty of professional misconduct on the two counts. First, that he had failed to communicate with the retiring CA in writing. So communication should be in writing, not over the phone. And that he should wait for the reasonable length of time uh, a reply to be received from the predecessor. So I have failed in two tests, and that's why I I am guilty under professional misconduct. Now, friends, another very important requirement of CPE hours. As you know, that the code of ethics are not read by chartered accountants. Even standards of auditing are not read by chartered accountants. That's why they have made mandatory that all the CAs have to compulsorily go at least attend one lecture in a year, one on code of ethics and one on statutory, sorry, on accounting standards and all that. So it is mandatory. So CPE requirement. It is also effective tool of planning. Uh, of course, ICAI do not take stringent step if you are non-CP compliant, but sometime you may be deprived of your right. So let us first just have a cursory look over the CPO requirement applicable to chartered accountants. So friends, friends, I forgot to tell you that what amounts to the proper communication. So in the eyes of Code of Ethics, in the eyes of ICI, they emphasize that you have to communicate with the predecessor by registered AD letter or take the uh, acknowledgement in physical form. This is the effective mode of keeping the positive evidence in your hands. So by sending email, it's not a proper communication maybe because email may have gone into spam, he may not or junk, or he may not have read it, right? So when you communicate by email, an email you also get reply from the predecessor by email, then it's a acknowledgement and it is fine. It's a proper communication with positive evidence. So friends, you always have to keep in mind that you have to keep positive evidence of communication with the predecessor as well as uh, uh, communication with the earlier chartered accountant is not only for the fees. It is although also a healthy practice. Supposing I know that client was pressurizing me to adopt false techniques. Client was threatening me for not reporting certain facts. Client was uh, adopting window dressing, hiding certain facts, concealing material fact while giving reports to SEBI, ROC, IRDA, Reserve Bank of India. I know. So whenever is a healthy practice that when you go for NOC, so not only for fee, but he may highlight to you that don't accept the audit or exercise abandon caution because he is adopting certain unfair means. So it is a great rescue or great help from the predecessor. So fees is not only the material criteria, it is also material for getting knowledge from the predecessor. And it is a big boon for incoming auditor. So friends, now coming to the CPA requirement. As you know, friends, all the members having more than age of 60 years and holding COP, because CP requirement has been categorized into three categories. One, CA holding COP age less than 60 years, CA more than 60 years and or residing abroad, and third category is CA holding COP age more than 60 years. So this is the first category of chartered accountant, a member holding COP and age less than 60 years. For them, the requirement very stringent. For rest of the category of chartered accountants, the requirement is not such stringent, but in this category, you have to exercise abundant caution. It says that in the block period of 3 calendar years, it's a calendar year, not financial year. In the block period of 3 calendar years, at present the block is containing 3 calendar years, 2020, 21, and 22. In these 3 years, we have to do 120 CP hours mandatorily. And in each year, each calendar year, 20, 21, and 22, I have to acquire compulsorily 40 CP hours per annum per calendar year. Out of 40 CP hours, 20 must be through structured learning and 20 either may be structured or unstructured learning. So per annum, structured learning by 20 hours is mandatory, and I can complete entire quota of mine through structured learning. So unstructured learning is not mandatory, right? So in this category, the structured learning is compulsory. In rest of categories, the learning by structured hours is not mandatory. So mind well friends, if you are less than 60 years and holding COP, then you have to complete 160 hours in 3 calendar years, 40 CP hours at least in one calendar year. Out of 40 in one calendar year, 20 should be at least through structured learning. Right friends? Now category 2 chartered accountants. It is members age less than 60, not holding COP or residing abroad with or without COP. For them, the requirement is 60 CP hours in the block period of 3 calendar years, 20, 21, 22, and all the 60 hours they can uh, undergo by structured learning or unstructured learning, meaning thereby CPE hours through structured learning is not mandatory for the category of chartered accountant falling under this category. However, minimum 15 structured hours either through structured CPE hours, either through structured or unstructured per annum has to be undertaken compulsorily per calendar year. Now, third category of CA is a CA age more than 60 years and holding COP. For them, 90 CP hours is mandatory for during 3 calendar years. All the 90 CP hours he can acquire either through structured or unstructured learning. However, minimum 20 CP hours through structured learning is so minimum 20 CP hours is mandatory either through structured or unstructured learning. The fourth category is member above 60 years but not holding COP. For them, there is no requirement CP hours. They are fully exempt from earning CP hour requirement. So question arises, friends, who are exempt from CP hours? So ICAI says for the calendar year in which a member gets membership, particularly that calendar year will be exempt for him. Supposing I am qualified as a chartered accountant in the month of June to June 22. So this calendar year ending on 31st December 22 will be exempt for me. My CP or obligation will start from 1/1/2023. Right, friends? Supposing I got membership in the month of June 21. So my CP hours started, obligation started from 22. So in this calendar year, proportionate CP hours I have to do depending upon whether I am holding COP or not. So we have to take proportionate. So those who are more than 60 years, COP CPA requirement are not applicable to them. And in particular cases, at the discretion of the CP committee of the institute, they decide and they grant the exemption. Maybe in the case of pregnant lady, maybe in the case of judges of High Court or Supreme Court who are chartered accountants. And there are so many exemptions have been given in the advisory of CP guidelines. So these were the important. Now what happened if I am a non-CP compliant chartered accountant? So friends, whenever you want to acquire a certificate of good standing for migrating abroad or for acquiring membership of other professional bodies, say Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales or Australia or Canada for that matter. So in those cases, you will not get the certificate of good standing from institute because you are non-CP compliant. So some opportunity may you have to forgo if you are non-CP compliant chartered accountant. So now, friends, moving further, what the procedure I have to adopt while a partner joins in my firm or a partner leaves my partnership firm? What the formality I have to complete? So, fine, we have to keep in mind when the partner join firm, there is a requirement to submit form number 18 to be signed by all the partners, and it has to reach to ICAI within 30 days, failing which you have to face the uh, penalty prosecution. Penalty provision will be applicable to you. So form number 18 has to be executed. There are so many cases wherein such formatting is not completed and hence partnership is not registered with the ICAI. Similarly, when the partner leaves the organization, mind well friends, you have to keep in mind that uh, form number 18 has to be executed. It has to be signed by all the partners except the retiring partners, and it has to reach to ICAI within 30 days. However, two additional requirements must be fulfilled. One is the written consent from the retiring partner and written confirmation from the firm about the retirement of partner. Failing which, ICAI will not entertain the change and you maybe miss certain opportunity. Right, friends? So mind well, written consent with returning partner is must. Nowadays, all the process is online through your self-service portal, that is SSP, and you have to comply with all the procedures of SSP online. And upon failing which, you may be deprived of many opportunities, maybe professional or others. Similarly, what would happen when a full-time paid assistant joins my firm or leaves my firm? You know, when a CA taking up employment in my firm, I am supposed to intimate to ICAI within 30 days. Or when he leaves, within 30 days, I have to intimate to ICAI. Now, what is online? Failing which, I have to pay the penalty to the ICAI. So, written intimation has to be uploaded onto the website. Employer and employee both have to sign the letter and both have to uh, undergo the OTP verification on the self-service portal. That is compulsory also. Friends, can a practicing member go for a business if I am a COP holder? Am I allowed to do the business? The answer is of course no. And if I am doing the business, I cannot even apply for the COP. Even a member is full-time in job in industry at the place, he can retain COP or can apply for COP. So this is the requirement. So the question is, um, whether I'm a CFO holder, can I do the business? So answer is no. He is not entitled to do obtain COP. However, if engaged in a family business, uh, and upon the partition of HUF, the business developed upon him, uh, upon certain conditions, upon certain requirement, and upon certain documentary evidence given to ICAI, ICAI may grant the permission, but prior permission of the institute is must for all chartered accountants, friends. So, friends, if I accept the employment of a CA in the CA firm, or I am going for employment in say Adani or Torrent. Can I hold? Can I apply to CA firm? Can I apply to ICAI for taking membership? Because I am not in practice. I am in employment with CA firm or some other organization or some other entity or some commercial organization. Can I apply to? Can I become a member of the institute, or can I retain COP? Can I apply for COP? So answer is yes, friends. Even if a member is a full-time paid assistant, he can retain COP or can apply for COP. No need to surrender the COP to ICAI. Even a member is full-time in job, in industry, or at places, he can retain COP or he can apply for COP. No need to surrender the COP back to ICAI, and the permission is generally granted if certain conditions are fulfilled. However, in all such cases, his status will be member is part-time in practice, and he is not allowed to do any attest function. Fine, friends. You, if even if you are into employment, you can retain COP. You can even apply for COP, and but you cannot use that COP to do the attest function. So, friends, uh, who are eligible to for the admission as a fellow chartered accountant? Who can become a who can apply to ICAI to become the fellow chartered accountant? So, an associate holding membership for a continuous period of more than 5 years, he can apply to ICAI to become a FCA. Even if he is employed in an educational institute or some other commercial or professional organization, he can also apply for more than 5 years, rendering services in the field of accounts, cost accounts, taxation, finance, management, company law, and other secretary work. He can also apply to become FCA to ICAI. Even a CA he is into job with CA firm. If more than 5 years has completed, he can also become FCA and he can also apply to ICAI. Even partly in practice and partly in service, together more than 5 years continuous membership is there, he can also apply to the ICAI to become FCA. Of course, the organization wherein I have practiced, I am into employment, is to be certain size, having minimum paid up share capital more than 25 lakh, turnover more than 50 lakh rupee, and asset base more than 50 lakh rupees. So I can become take the admission as a fellow. If an associate member, means ACA, who is employed in industry abroad, can he become FCA with our institute? Suppose I I have qualified as a member in the year 1995. I went Dubai into employment. Can I become uh, can I become FCA or can I apply to ICAI for become FCA? The answer is yes. If he is in employment for a continuous period of more than 5 years, he can do so. And carrying duties, he must have carried out duties in the field of accounts, cost accounts, taxation, finance, company law, or secretarial work. Supposing, friends, if I am practicing abroad, can I become FCA in India? So what is true in the case of employment is not true with the practicing CA abroad. The answer is no. Only members being associate and have become continuous practice in India for at least 5 years are eligible to apply for admission for fellowship. Friends, I beg your pardon for a sip of water, please. Just wait for half a minute, friends. Yes, coming back, friends. I'm a practicing chartered accountant. Can I become the managing director, executive director, or whole-time director in a company? Frequently asked question. I'm a COP holder. Can I become the MD or ED or whole-time director in a company? Am I supposed to take permission from the council? The answer is yes. A member holding COP can engage as MD, ED, or WTD of a company. However, he is required to take a prior permission from the institute under Regulation 190A. The council generally grants permission if certain provisions are fulfilled, and in all such cases, CA status of the CA is a will be member part-time in practice, and hence he cannot undertake the attached function. He cannot undertake the full-time practice. Fine, friends. Taking clue further, whether a member holding COP can engage as a director simpliciter and whether he is required to take permission from the institute. Answer is yes. A member holding COP can engage as a director simpliciter in a company, which means that he is required to attend the board meetings only. He will not pay any remuneration except the sitting fee for attending board meeting, and he will be devoting his time for the company only for attending board meetings and not for any other business of the company. And this, if these conditions are fulfilled, there is no requirement to take permission from the institute. Fine, friends. So director simpliciter we can become. Taking a clue further, whether a practicing member can become a promoter director or subscriber to the memorandum and articles of association. The yes answer. The member is not required to take specific permission from the council. They are allowed to do this. Friends, I'm a practicing chartered accountant. Can I accept the lecturership in any university or educational institution or coaching organization in a private tutorship? Am I supposed to take permission from the council? And what would be my status? Because there are so many CAs who are rendering this lecturership in college or university or coaching organization or classes. So answer is yes. The member is allowed to do this. He is required to obtain specific permission from the council prior to the engagement, and he will be treated as a member in full-time practice if direct teaching hours devoted to such activities taken together do not exceed 25 hours a week. So friends, direct teaching hours means what? When I am imparting lectures, that say lecture is of 1 hour, so 1 hour period is a direct teaching hour. You would exclude the period of recess or traveling time, and taken together for various activities. Say I may be a lecturer in X college, Y college, or PQR college. So taken together, the time devoted to such activities should not exceed more than 25 hours a week. Only then I will be awarded the lecturership. So friends, if I am a practicing chartered accountant, can I open the coaching classes or coaching center? Answer is clearly no. Practicing CA is not permitted. We have to surrender COP if you want to start the activity. And hence the question of treating the member in full-time practice in such circumstances is never arise. Moving further, friends, if I am not in practice and I am running coaching classes, can I advertise my coaching classes um, in a big manner, like big hoardings, big kiosk, and all that, stating that CA Parag Raval, the expert in audit, teaching in audit, teaching in income tax. The ICAI says members are advised to abstain from advertising their association with coaching or teaching activities through hoardings, posters, banners, and by any other means failing which uh, member may be liable for disciplinary action. So mind well, friends. Uh, these are the code of ethics, and we are prohibited to advertise in such a big manner, which bring disrepute to the CA profession and our institute. Can I write a date of setting practice or date of establishment on my visiting card, letterhead, stationery, envelope, all that? Answer is not. We are not allowed to mention date of setting or date of establishment on all our professional documents like letterhead, visiting card, stationery, bills, envelopes, and all that. We are not, it is prohibited, and um, we may be held guilty under professional misconduct. Can I accept the um, assurance engagement at a significantly lower fee than charged by my predecessor? My predecessor is X. He was charging 5 lakh rupees. I am charging only 3 lakh rupees for the same assignment. Can I do this? Can I do this? The answer is no. A firm cannot obtain an assurance engagement significantly lower fee level than that was charged by the predecessor. However, if I am able to prove that the firm is able to demonstrate that the appropriate due diligence and qualified staff are assigned to the task, and all applicable assurance standards, guidelines, quality control procedures are being complied with. If I'm able to prove it, then it is possible to undertake the assignment with the reduction in fees. As you know, friends, there are so many courses run by our institute. Say, for example, a certificate course on GST, IFRS, treasury management, arbitration, international taxation, and all that. I have passed those courses. Can I mention all those passing of courses on my professional stationery like visiting card and all? Yes, friends, it is allowed. So now it is, we can mention all these qualifications in my visiting card or on all other stationery. However, I cannot mention myself as a system. If I pass the course of DISA, I cannot mention myself as a information system auditor and all that, right? So only my diploma or my qualification I can mention. What is the procedure of change of name in the ICAI records by the chartered accountant? It happens particularly in the case of female chartered accountants when they get married. So when female gets married and it is optional if she want to get her name changed in the ICAI record, she has to write an application to the ICAI coupled with any of the three documents. One is either marriage invitation card or attested copy of the marriage certificate or an affidavit. Either of one will do. In the case of male members, even sometimes male prefer to change their name, right? Or surname rather. In many cases, I have seen that father is having surname Thakkar and his son want to adopt surname some other surname. So in all those cases, application to be made to ICAI along with the copy of gazetted notification or original copy of the advertisement in a leading newspaper or an affidavit. Either of any of three will be sufficient for netting a change in the records of the ICAI. So, friends, moving further, is there an mandatory to mention professional address, or whether I should have a professional address if I'm a practicing chartered accountant? Yes, friend. Um, as per Regulation 187, every member in practice must have a professional address in India, right? And in all the communication by ICAI will be made on that address only, and my professional address and address for communication cannot be different, right, friends? So these are the importance and the significance of professional address. Can I become a in charge of HO as well as branch? Friends, the member cannot become the in charge of HO as well as branch of the office of the firm, since each and every office of the firm should be under the charge of a separate member. So I cannot become in charge of HO as a branch. There will be another partner or the paid assistant. Another taking clue from this, can I have a second office or additional office? It is also we can take the planning for our professional enhancement. Yes, friends. We can have a second office or additional office without the help of partner or without the help of any in charge of this of that office in the form of paid chartered accountants. Uh, the condition are the additional office is situated in the same premises in which the first is situated. The additional office is located in the same city in which the first office is located, or the additional office is located within the distance of 50 km periphery from the municipal limit of the city in which the first office is located. So it is permissible. We can offer. I'm not talking about the branch office, mind my friend. I am talking about the second office. If you, if you register the second office as a branch office, then there is a need to be appointed. You have to appoint one partner or one full-time paid chartered CA as the in charge of those office. But in the case of additional office, there is no need. We can go for registration. If I am in Dubai, I am a practicing chartered accountant. I stay in Dubai. Can I continue my proprietary concern in India? It is not permissible. However, a member working abroad can have a proprietary concern in India, provided he proves the active association with the firm in India. How this association can be proved? Such association shall be deemed to be exist if the member residing in at the place where the firm is situated for more than 182 days in a year. Alternatively, he can engage a member as a paid assistant and appoint as an in charge of the firm. So in those cases, he can continue with his proprietary concern in India. Moving further, friends, my firm name is very famous, say in Gujarat or some other states. I want to encase the goodwill or brand name of the same name. Say for example, XYZ and company. Can I open the another office with the same name in another state, another region with the same name? Answer is yes. You have to file form number 117 with the ICAI, and the condition is at least one of the partner should be common between the two firms. If it is so, then you can have the same name of partnership firm in say Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, etc. However, the new firm will be registered with the another FRN. The firm register number will be different in both the cases. It is in the eyes of institute is a new firm, but you can have the same name and you can go for the professional enhancement using the brand name or the goodwill. Friends, supposing I am a practicing chartered accountant, can I acquire land and can I do the agriculture activity? Answer is partly yes, partly no. If I am a practicing CA, I can hold agricultural land but cannot do the agricultural activity. If I want to do this, I have to hire the services of other laborers. If I am a chartered accountant, but I am do not do the practice in the field of as advocate, can I use CA logo on my professional um, visiting card, stationery, all that? Answer is no. CA logo is a symbol of CA profession, and advocates are prohibited to use CA logo. And friends, you know that our institute has emblem Garudas, Ya Satyashu Jagarti. Can I use those emblem or in the form of sticker and paper and all that, and use or stick it on my in my office walls, doors, etc.? It is not permitted. CA with right tick is permitted, but emblem is not permitted to be used uh, in any form by any CA in their office or some other places. It is not permitted. Can I create my own logo and mention it on litter, stationery? Again, the answer is no. The use of logo, monogram of any kind, form, style, design, color, whatsoever, or any display material or media on paper straight or documents, visiting card, magnetic tape, it is all prohibited. Use or printing of member firm name in any other manner tantamount to logo or monogram is also prohibited. However, the common CA logo with right tick is allowed to member with certain conditions. It is not prohibited. Now moving further, last few questions. If I'm a partner in X firm as well as YZPQR, can I mention my partnership with other firms on in my letterhead, my visiting card? The answer is yes. The member is allowed, right? There is no violation of code of conduct. If I'm a practicing chartered accountant, can I do trading in shares? Engagement by a member in practice in the business of buying and selling shares amount to any other business, and it's a violative. Even trading in shares as a karta of HUF is also not permissible. We are allowed to make the investment from of our own firm or the HUF firm, but we cannot go for the trading of shares. Friends, there are two schedules in CA Act, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. So question arise, what is the difference between the two? So those code of ethics bifurcated into Schedule 2 having is amount tantamount to grave consequences, grave and serious, prescribing higher punishment. Say those defaults falling into first schedule, in that uh, those cases will be decided by the board of discipline, and they can reprimand or suspension up to 3 years of membership or fine up to rupee 1 lakh. Whereas those default falling under schedule 2, there is the cases will be heard by disciplinary committee. There may be a reprimand. There can be a suspension of practice for uh, certain period or permanently, or there can be a fine up to 5 lakh rupees. So this is the distinction between the two schedules of code of conduct in schedule in the CA Act. Friends, can I undertake? I'm a practicing chartered accountant. Can I undertake the services like management of NRI funds, portfolio management services, broking, collection agent? No, friends. Management of NRI funds, portfolio management, broking, undertaking services, collection agent, all are prohibitive. If I do so, I am guilty under professional misconduct. And the last question is, can a practicing member undertake the recruitment and relevant services of training? It is permissible. The management consultancy and other services as specified by our council includes both personnel recruitment and the conduct of training programs and conduct of work studies. As such, the same are permitted for a member in practice. So friends, this is all from my side to make you understand the code of ethics with various examples, and whatever I have said you, if I to make the atmosphere live and some light, I have summarized all the position with the help of beautiful kittens. Friend, we have just entered into 2022. We are curiously facing for new 2022 new year. Yes, there may be risk involved, of course. There are so many changes in law, regulation, rules, code of ethics and all that. Risk is always present. We also may face roadblock at times. हमें लगता है कि बहुत मजा नहीं रहा प्रैक्टिस में. Law have become so stringent, right friends? Some many things have become online. So uh, there is a one proverb in Hindi, आपत्ति पड़ने पर बिल्ली पेड़ पे भी चढ़ सकती है. So whenever there is a roadblock, don't afraid, try to um, jump over the obstacles, friends. So stay alert. We have to stay alert because there are so many challenges for the chartered accountants, right? As you know that this government has brought in many changes. So always stay alert, Share time with friends. Exchange the ideas, views, thoughts, news, information with the friends. Jump over the obstacles. Don't stay there. If you want to prosper, you want to grow, jump over the obstacle. Don't stay there. Accept the challenges and convert those challenges into opportunities and revenues. Share time with friends. Very important. So stay alert always. Share time with friends. Jump over the obstacles. However, each and every step of yours should be with due care and due caution. Each and every step should be with due care and due caution. You to face challenges. Areas are being opened up for the big four. New professionals are entering into multi-receive partnership and all that. So you have to face challenges and you have to be ready for the accepting challenges. And we are living stressful life. We have forget to laugh. So friend, never forget to laugh. Keep smiling, friends. Cooperate with each other when the time is bad. Certainly extend help to other profession brothers. Discover new vistas, avenues, and chances for practice. You should be very alert every time. And there are so many avenues, opportunities for chartered accountant. So don't stick to the existing one. Discover new vistas and opportunities. Make new friends. Enter into new partnership. Our institute is allowed to enter into partnership with cost accountant, company secretary, um, engineer, and all that. So make new friends like this kitten. Above all, be ready for this adventure. You have to be ready for adventure. Stick together when the time is bad. Extend help to the other colleagues. If you do so, you will be able to go far. Not only go far, very far, like this kitten has reached to the height. Always take time to smell flowers. From your busy schedule, spare yourself to learn many new things, friends. Update yourself. Don't forget to relax and enjoy. We have forgotten this aspect, very crucial aspect. Don't don't forget this, friend, to take relaxation and enjoy. Take vacation, go with family, enjoy. And do not forget those who likes you most, your spouse, your brother, your sister, mother, father, your kids, and all that. Don't forget to love them. And I wish all the best to all the members present over here for the best finance year to 2022, friends. Thank you, friends. Now over to the authority of SIRC, friends.
Thank you so much, session, sir. We have some questions. I hope most of them were answered. We'll take it up the relevant one. I'll just share my screen,
Fine,
sir.
fine.
Is my screen visible, sir? I've compiled an Excel sheet. Is it visible?
Hello,
Yeah,
hello.
is it visible, sir? Screen is visible.
No, screen is not visible.
Can you stop the slideshow, sir, so that you can able to see my screen, or else you could click on that application orange arrow mark. It should be come in front. You stop the slideshow, escape button. It should be. Click on the application or some audio.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I am sharing my screen. Since you are sharing your PPT, it is coming on the front, right? You just stop the PPT so that you'll be able to see the screen, sir.
I have to stop share.
No, no, you stopped it already. You need to
Fine.
close the PPT. Yeah. So it will come in. Or else click on the orange arrow mark, the PPT will come in front.
Yes, yes.
Are you able to see the screen, sir?
Not yet.
1 minute. I just. Can you close the
Yeah, yeah,
PPT?
it is. Yeah, now it's showing the PPT. Yes.
Now I'll share my screen again. Still, is it
Huh.
now?
The answer. Can I read the question? Can I?
Yeah, you can sir, please.
Can CA having home loan from a bank be its is auditor? No, no friends. Even FD loan is not permitted. So you cannot do this. Whether an internal auditor of a company can be a statutory auditor? No friends. Both the functions taken simultaneously, it's a violation of the independent standards. So you cannot do this. A private limited company appointed a chartered accountant. Mr. Salem, can you do the full screen, please?
Full screen only, sir. You can expand it. You can double click and you can expand. You can double click on center of the screen. Are you not able to see?
Certain portion
Already-
become hide.
No. You click on the orange arrow, it will hide actually. If you click on the orange arrow mark, the panel will hide actually. Or else can I read it out, sir, please?
Please. It will be
Which one,
very.
sir? Second question? Second question?
I answered the
Which
second question. Now about the third.
A private limited company appointed as a chartered accountant for 5 years while resolution passed in AGM. During the currency of the period of 5 years, can such private limited company can change the auditor? If so, what are the formalities to be compiled? It was to be noted that the existing auditor has not done any wrong to that company. How such chartered accountant act in these circumstances? In these
Yes.
circumstances,
Yes, the company has power. Only if there is a default on the part of services by the existing chartered accountant. If not, they cannot debar you. And now the law has been framed that whenever CA is going out, they have to give the reason in the board meeting as well as the ROC and the appropriate authority. So if you are not in fault, there is no fault in services, the company cannot simply kick you out from your services within 5 years of your tenure. That cannot happen. And if someone other if accept engagement, then that particular chartered accountant will be guilty under professional misconduct.
next question. So whether members are allowed to list themselves on online freelance websites like Fiverr and Upwork to get online work assignments?
No, it is not permitted. It is not permitted to act as a freelancer.
Okay, I have recently done valuation of a company as registered valuer. Can I issue net worth certificate for the same company?
Are you a CV? Okay, you are a CV holder. You want to issue a net worth certificate. Yes, you can do the issue the net worth certificate. No issue at all. It is not
Can the,
prohibitive.
can the concurrent auditor of one branch of bank undertake the limited review assignment of another branch of the same bank?
No, it is prohibitive. It is prohibitive. Independence, it is stake. If you are a concurrent auditor, it's a kind of internal audit, and limited review is like a statutory audit. Both cannot be done, whether of the same bank or of the same branch of the bank. If it's a different or two banks, then there is no problem. Otherwise, it is a violation of the code of conduct. Next,
Communication
please.
previous auditor by email is it sufficient?
It is sufficient if you get the reverse reply from that chartered accountant, failing which if you know positive evidence in your hand, and that's why you may have to face music. So it is in your interest either issue a registered letter or a physical letter with acknowledgement due from the chartered accountant. And whenever you communicate with him, get ensure yourself you get the positive evidence in your hand. Otherwise, you may be held guilty under professional misconduct.
What is the consequences of non-maintenance of CP requirement?
Um, as I said, ICAI has never taken any step with the non-compliant chartered accountant. Only thing is, whenever you have an opportunity to migrate to other country, or you want to acquire the membership of other uh, professional institute, only then you have to go for the certificate of good standing by the from our institute. In that case, you are non-CP compliant chartered accountant, and you will not get the certificate. And at that same time, you may lose the opportunity. This is the only glitch under this non-compliant CP chapter CAs.
The part-time practice still exists.
See, there is no concept like part-time practice. It's a myth. It's a common parlance. It's a status of the member. A member, whether a part-time in practice or full-time in practice. COP is COP. In COP, it is no one mentioned. It's a part-time COP or full-time COP. So it's a status of the member whether you do part-time practice or full-time practice. So if I am in full-time practice, there is no question I can do any attest function. But if my status is member part-time in practice, I cannot do the attest function. I can hold COP, I cannot use the COP. I cannot hold any attest function, right? Please, next question.
When a tax auditor is changed and we have communicated to previous auditor, what is the reasonable time to get communication from previous auditor?
There is no definition of reasonable time, but you have to try to get the answer from the previous predecessor. You have to wait for the predecessor reasonable time. Say you waited for sufficiently for 1 month, then you can start the audit. But you cannot take a plea. Say for example, 30th September is the last date to upload this tax audit report. On the date of 25th September, client approaches you and
Yes,
say, you do the audit and upload my tax audit report. So if you do so, you are guilty under the misconduct, because you have not waited for the reasonable time for the response to be given by the predecessor. Mind well, friends, very important. So there is no definition of reasonable time. It depends on each case to case, each case. But you have to ensure the reasonable time you have offered to the predecessor to obtain the answer or NOC from the predecessor.
what are the points to be taken care before resigning auditor?
Before resigning, I think there is no fun. See, it is in the case of newly appointed chartered accountant to take care of. But when I am going to resign, from code of conduct point of view, there is no any other requirement. From code of conduct point of view, so far code of conduct of ICAI 2019 is concerned, there are no requirement or no any clause which affects or which tells to a chartered accountant when you um, go off, retire from a as auditor from the company, what the process you should adopt. There are no procedure designed by the code of ethics.
What are the points to be taken care before? Sorry, can internal auditor certify Form 15 CB?
No, it cannot. He cannot, because 15 CB is kind of statutory audit and internal audit, both are violative to each other, contrary.
If both NOC is taken for statutory audit, for tax audit also, is required to be obtained from same previous auditor?
Yes, very well. You have to say very categorically in your letter that I am being appointed as a tax auditor as well as a statutory auditor of the company. Kindly grant me my permission. So NOC has to be taken, as I said, not only because I have to ensure that a fee has to be paid. It's a healthy practice also, wherein he can mention what are the defaults, what are frauds, or what are the malpractices are being adopted by the. He can draw my attention. He can very well vouch, safeguard my interest. So it is mandatory.
So those were the questions, sir. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And many were asking for the PPT, and if possible, you can.
Okay. Sure. Soon after the lecture, I will share my PPT to you. You can share the
Yeah,
PPT right across all the members.
yes, sir.
Sure,
We'll be
I
sharing
will.
along with the recordings to the members in 1 or 2 days' time.
Sure, sir. You are allowed.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have.
Before concluding, I am highly thankful to Pandarajji and all the members, all the office bearers, chairman, SIRC, secretary, treasurer, and all the members for giving me opportunity to share my views on code of ethics. I have shared my views thoroughly by making examples and practical life situations. I think member must have be gained out of it, perhaps. Now over to Pandaraji and all the members, please.
Great job done by you, sir. Thank you very much from the heart of
My
my bottom
pleasure.
of my heart. And it is our pleasure to have you here. And I always tell it is the speakers who are the real assets of the institute.
So nice
Because
of you.
but for your efforts, definitely this dissemination of knowledge cannot happen so easily. So I am very much pleased for your presence. And on behalf of SIRC, I thank you very much for your time, sir. And
Thank
in
you.
the times to come, we may call on you for local bodies
Sure.
Knowledge from your side.
Sure.
I am chairman of that committee also here.
Oh, great.
That is public and government consistently for 2 years, sir.
Right.
So I have
Oh,
been
very
working
fine.
some this one. So there I would require a lot of your support
Sure.
and guidance. We
Sure,
will be in touch with
Pandaraji.
you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I will be in touch with you. And
Sure.
thank you all the members for your participation. And your participation definitely gives us extra energy to conduct such programs more and more. And especially this is a mandatory program. And with so many queries, I could barge in around the question answer, and it was very interesting to be part of the question answer session. So thank you very much for being participating here, and also for the queries that you have raised. So keep supporting us. And I thank the chairman and secretary in absentia, and also the SIRC office, and Mr. Selva, the technical hero for these programs. Thank you once again.
Yeah.
Sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Selvaji. Thank you, Pannaji, all the members.
Yes.
I take your
Good
leave.
night, sir. Good night, sir. Good night, sir.
Yeah.
ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ 7:30 ಒಣ್ಕೊಳಕತ್ತಿದ್ನ ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ఎందుకు ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಈಗ ಪಟಾಕಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾರೆ. ಬಾಂಬೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಈಸಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಾಂಬೆ, ಚೆನ್ನೈ, ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೌತ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ. ನಂಬರ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್